we are here with John Harrison. We've been talking back and forth for years now. A lot of it over COVID, of course, continuing now.
Thank you.
And the thing that kind of just really drew me in when I started seeing your images on Instagram was the fact that your imagery, your dioramas that you set up, just immediately set an emotion or made me feel in a certain way about the image. I mean, it was just instantaneous. There wasn't a lot of, hey, what's that or this or that. It's just like boom. And I thought that was wonderful. At the time, I was trying to learn about that, I was reading about it and film and, trying to construct pictures and all that kind of stuff. And then I stumble upon yours and it's right there and you're already doing it. I started following John and we struck up a conversation and it's been going ever since. And I'm thrilled. So this, I'm happy to introduce to you today, John Harrison. John, tell us please a little bit about you.
About me. Well, I know I don't look it, but I'm 66. I'll be 67 this year. And always had an interest in modeling, making things, finding out things. I'm an archaeologist. I used to be a fireman, and I've been a fisherman and lots of different jobs. And a lot of these things I bring into the dioramas, past experiences. It's important to, I think of these things and think, well, this is how I did this in the past. This is how it should look. And I've been lucky to have a lot of different experiences. So I have a lot of help with the dioramas, because I've done this and I've done that and I've done this, and I can picture how things are. I've been in burning buildings, I've been in wrecked places, I've been digging things up, skeletons and things. So it's something I can bring to dioramas. And it's when I started making them, it wasn't an idea to make this emotional thing. It was just something I saw and something. I think it was because I grew up with watching movies all the time, and it was always about impact, visual impact. Great shots, and look at shadows and light. And favorite film of mine is The Third Man, and the unbelievable shots in the sewers under Vienna. These long shadows and the brickwork and everything. The lighting is everything. I try and bring that into the dioramas. That's basically how it works. I make them quite quick, and then they're just meant to be there, and then they're gone. I dismantle them. Once the photograph is done, they're gone,
You're not building like I'm doing. I kind of build this thing, and then I stick it up on a shelf, and I go back and look at it. But you're just trying to get the picture and the emotion and story that you're putting together, and then that's it. But you do it so effectively.
Yeah, this one I made quite a while ago. And the idea appealed to me of this, in the apocalypse, this walled settlements, and people just having enough food for themselves, not being able to feed anyone else. Guy comes up to the gate and he's carrying a bag with all his possessions in, and the guy comes out with a shotgun. Says, "No, keep walking, son. Just keep walking. Walk on. No harm will be done. Just walk on." And it's, if we feed you, we've got nothing to feed our families. So we can't take people in. You don't know who you're taking in. Is this guy? Is he going to open the gate later for a lot of bandits to come in, or raiders or something? And he's just a guy walking along looking for food. But I think that's how it would be. This, based on the archaeology. I believe that if we had the apocalypse, we would end up with this sort of thing. Houses, streets would be walled off. People would be living up on motorways that could protect that sort of. And we would revert back to how we were in the Iron Age and the Bronze Age, where we lived in walled settlements. And where I am an island, there are so many around me, hill forts. And we find weapons, we find arrowheads, spears. It wasn't a hippie culture. People had to protect themselves from other people. There were slavers, there were raiders. People wanted what you had. And if it was people, if it was livestock, they would come and take it. So you had to protect yourself. Actually, slavers in Ireland, in the early Christian period and Iron Age, we were sending slaves to the Romans in Britain. And St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland, he was sent as a slave to Rome. And then he came back from Rome and started, in Cape to Ireland. He was actually Welsh. But again, he was sold as a slave. And this was a real thing, So my ideas are that I think people would fall back on defending. In that last picture, if you look, it's a very makeshift compound. These guys are throwing these things up pretty quick. And he's not seeing the guy get lost or I'll shoot you. He's just saying, look, Phil, we haven't anything for you. So just keep going, because they're not bad people. They're just people making out, The whole apocalypse idea is something I love. It's it gives you great scope to do different things. That slide there actually is a good intro, because the guys who are being sold are actually models from an Iraqi modern thing in Iraq. And I thought, well, there's got to be a different slant on this. So I painted them green, and then they became part of the universe that I have. The green people are part of the universe created, It came back from when I was a kid, 14 or 15, reading books. And I was thinking about this idea of how all our dimensions were like the spokes of a wheel, and all the dimensions are separated by the spokes. And this is an idea, came to me years ago. What would happen if all of a sudden 2 dimensions clashed and collapsed in on each other? And I just forgot about that. That was, 50 years ago, more than that, 50-something years ago. And then I was making World War II dioramas, and they're great. I love them. But you're tied into historical fact there. You have to really stick to the facts. But with sci-fi and fantasy and post-apocalypse, you can put anything in, That idea, I remember this idea I had about the different universes. And then what would happen now if all of a sudden the 2 dimensions, another dimension clashed into ours and smashed in, or perhaps even 2 dimensions smashed in? And this is the idea that I got, that we're here and then all of a sudden these dimensions clash. So now we get gigantic monsters, gigantic insects, huge rock monsters that we've never seen, giant and alien robots. And another thing with the green people, when I wanted to make that diorama, where did the green people come from? Oh yeah, when this dimension clashed, thousands of green people just appeared from their dimension. And then when it all cleared up, they were trapped here. So originally, because we were fighting with all these aliens, fighting with these monsters, these alien robots and mutants, and the green people were looking after them because they were refugees. And then as we were struggling for resources, these greens were being resented. So they became easy cannon fodder for bandits and raiders and slavers, just as ordinary humans were. And the caption is, I'll take them, but next time try and get me some humans. These greens are useless, Then we want humans that are stronger, We can explain things to them. These greens, they're soft, they die. It opened the door for the universe as well to be created, but also telling the story of why these guys are green and why these guys are selling them. I remembered actually some people were asking me, was this a statement on racism? There's no agenda. That's actually a statement on people, nothing to do with race or anything. But that idea came to me a long time ago, and I'm glad it came back, because it's allowed me to do lots of different things. Talking to you actually made me think of that, because I didn't think I had a process, but I actually do have a process. Or I'll think of a story that I want to tell, and then I'll find the figures, or I'll get them from somewhere, I'll make them or paint them or whatever. And then I'll think of how will I photograph this. So I first the story. What's the story I'm trying to tell? And I think, how's the best way to photograph them? What is the best way to photograph this? Get these guys in this position. And then I'll make it. The process is story, photo, creation. That's how I'm thinking.
Because you're putting stuff in there that immediately makes people ask a question.
Exactly. Yeah.
And sometimes it's as simple as, what is the situation? But sometimes it's what's in the background, what's their setting.
Dodgy dealings,
I read something that said when you're trying to take your photo or you're trying to discern how to take a photo, don't look at the photo, but try to imagine where the photographer is.
That's exactly.
Where are they?
Try
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I try to. Where would the guy stand who's going to take this photograph? And I'll take photographs from different places. But on that last slide with the seal of the green people, that was one shot, and it was like, oh, I don't need to take any more. you
Right.
know. And
Right.
I actually, the guy in the red, he's with the guy who has his back to us.
Yeah.
And he's like his bodyguard. But
Right.
the other guy, he has a guy behind him with a shotgun as well. So they both came armed, and they came with a
Right.
bodyguard as well, because these guys are doing dodgy dealings, and they don't trust each other. He could kill him and take the guy's back. So where would somebody be to take that photograph? Where would I be standing with my phone to take that photograph? And even if it means cutting somebody out, that is to me where I would stand. I'd move around. I think, stand there, lads. We'll take this photograph,
Yeah.
And that's exactly the process. Yeah, you're right. I try and think, where would I be? That incongruity of the big tire and the huge tire in the background. One of the secrets, I think, for me to take a good photograph is to leave your ego outside. When I started making dioramas, I wanted everybody to see what I did. Oh, look at this! I can't leave that out. I can't leave that out. And the photographs are terrible. And then I realized it's about the subject, not about the background. The background is there and it's blurred, or it plays a major part, and your subjects are right in the middle. It doesn't detract. It's there, but it doesn't detract. It's about what's happening at the time, and it's you can't take a photograph and put everything in. Because I used to do that. I said, oh, well, I made a great job of that. I'll have to get that in the shot. I'll have to get, and it was so stilted and stiff. Whereas if you take what's happening, set the thing up so exactly what's happening, and the background focuses everything. It just brings everything in tight. Never really thought of these things till you asked me.